All right, welcome year 10. Welcome to a new topic. So as you can see there, we are starting the topic of genetics. And today our goal is that we can describe the structure of DNA. All right, okay. So we got a picture of DNA there, and so I just want you to uh, have about like 30 seconds. Okay, so what do you know about DNA? What role does DNA play and how does it affect us? Just put in chat for me. Anything you know about DNA. Okay. Okay, so we've got here females normally get their mother's gene more. Okay. We're going to learn more about inheritance or genetic inheritance as well. So yes, may be a good idea to have a look at that later. Boys get the the father's gene. Okay. We're definitely going to learn more about this um, about inheritance later on in the topic. Okay, I'm just going to wait a bit more and probably going to move forward. Okay. All right. So here are some notes that I would like you to write down for me. Okay. Now I'm just going to quickly go through the notes here. So first of all, in order to learn about DNA, we first need to learn about cell. And we have learned about cell earlier in year 8. Now I do understand that that's going to be a very, very long time ago. So and that's fine. So we're just going to quickly go through it again. Okay. So don't worry if you forgot about cells. It's just going to be a quick recap, and hopefully by the end of this you remember some things about cells. So what is a cell? Okay, so let me get my pen on here. So a cell is they are basically the basic building blocks of all living things. Okay, so every living things would have this. We have it. Animals have it. Plants have cells, um, and so on. Okay, so cells have many responsibilities, and they include providing structure for the body, okay, taking in something from food, and what we want to take in from food is we want to take nutrients from the food, okay, and then we're also going to convert the nutrients into energy, okay, and that's how we get our energy to go through the day, and also carry out specialized functions as well. So human cells are eukaryotic, which means they have a membrane-bound nucleus. Okay, and let's talk more about the last part here, the nucleus. Okay, so you can see here on the right-hand side with the diagram, the nucleus is this part here. Okay, you can see that it's got sort of like a wall on the outside, so that's the membrane, the nucleus membrane, okay, or on the diagram here it's called the nuclear envelope. Okay, so the nucleus, its job is to control, okay, the nucleus controls and regulates the activities of the cell, okay, so things like growth, metabolism, and also gene regulation. um, let's expand more about the control and regulate. Okay, so control means, okay, it tells the cell what to do. Okay, and regulates means it's making sure that the cell is doing what it wants to do correctly. Okay, so that's the difference between controls and regulates. One is to say, hey, do this, and the other one is, are you doing it correctly? Okay. All right, so next one, we got the cell nucleus contains a cell something information and DNA. So DNA is basically the cell's genetic information. Okay. All right, moving on here. So let's talk about DNA. So DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so you can see here there's where the D, uh, N, and the A comes from. Okay, so D or deoxyribo or ribo, depending on how you pronounce it, should be ribo. Deoxyribo, nucleic, so nuclear, as in like it's in the nuclear, um, it's in the nuclear. Sorry, it's in the nucleus. Okay, so this is found in the nucleus, and it's an acid. Okay, so deoxyribonucleic acid. Um, the basic units making up DNA are called nucleotides, and the nucleotides are made up of a certain number of parts. So we can see here we've got the sugar part, the phosphate part, and the nitrogen base. So that means that we've got 1, 2, and 3 parts altogether. Okay, so nucleotides are made up of 3 parts: sugar part, phosphate part, and nitrogen base. And there are a certain number of nitrogen bases. And so we've got adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. Okay, so that's 4 nitrogen bases. So adenine, we have a shorthand for it. It's just A. Cytosine is C. Guanine is G. And thymine is T. Okay. Now you can see here that um, they would bind with a certain each each base bind with a certain base themselves. So with the diagram, you can see here adenine is A, or green, and it's connected to thymine, T, okay, red and green, and we can see that it always comes red and green, okay. On the other hand, cytosine, blue, always goes with yellow, guanine, G, okay. So A binds with T or thymine. Cytosine C always binds with guanine G. Okay, and there is a method to memorize it, and I'll show you in a moment. And a certain type of bond binds the bases and therefore the two strands together, and we can see from the diagram there, it is hydrogen bond. So hydrogen bonds binds the bases and the two strands together, and that makes what we call a double helix. Oh, sorry, double helix shape. Okay, it's sort of like a twisted ladder. All right. Okay, so here is just a bit a more detailed look at DNA. So you can see there we got the adenine bonding with the thymine. So these are the nitrogenous base, and between them they're bonded by the hydrogen bond. Okay, and then you have the phosphorus. I don't know if you can see the P there. That's the phosphorus. Um, Sorry, I just forgot for a moment. So the phosphorus backbone, and then you got the deoxyribose sugar as well. Okay, that's the green bit here. That's the sugar. So we call this the sugar backbone, sugar phosphate backbone. Okay, the phosphate group. Okay. Now moving on. So the rule is that adenine binds with thymine, cytosine binds with guanine. Okay. So one way to remember this, okay, so and remember this is just one way to remember this is apples are in the trees and cars are in the garage. Okay, so A, T, C, G. The other way that you can remember this is A and T are made up of straight lines. So this is another way. Okay, and C and G, oh, G, sorry, G have curves. Okay, so that's another way to remember. So using that, okay, using that, we're gonna try and find the complementary strand of DNA for the following sequence. Now, what it means by the complementary strand, if we go back to this slide here, okay, you can see that we got um, two strands of DNA going side by side, right? And if you have one strand, then you would know what the other strand is, because remember, A is go with T, C go with G, okay? So because of that rule, you would always know the other strand, okay? So what we have here is we have the letters for one of the strands, and we just want to find the other strands, okay? So remember, G go with C, A goes with T, T goes with A, T goes with A, okay? And then A goes with T, C goes with G, A goes with T, C, and then this one's A, G, T, A, this should be C, T, T, and G, okay? So that's how you work out the complementary strand, all right? So, oh, gone through that already. And so with that, okay, hopefully you guys will be able to do the DNA worksheets here. So before you guys go and do your work, I'm just going to show you what the DNA worksheet would look like. Okay, and you can remember you can find this on Compass. So here's the DNA worksheet, and there's a few questions on here. Some of these you just have to change the label, okay, and you can have a look at um, the PowerPoint to work out the answer for these. Okay. Also, you've got if you've got the textbook, you can have a look at the textbook as well. Okay. For this one here, you have to match the base with the correct pair. So basically, just draw a line. Okay. Draw a line to match the pair together. What's next? Okay, a few more answers there, and then a few more labels that you have to do. Okay, and you can see this one here. I think um, this is this picture is in the PowerPoint, so you can have a look at that and see how to label the question. Okay. All right. So I hope that um, I hope that this helps you with the the lessons as well as the worksheets. Okay. If you got any questions, you can feel free to stay and ask me. Otherwise, if you feel confident, then you are welcome to go and do the work by yourself. All right. Thanks for coming to the WebEx, guys.